Hi farm friends, today we're going to be talking about our top 6 methods for keeping the farm weed free. Let's go! My name's Georgia from Grow My Goodness here in the beautiful Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. If you're interested in flowers, vegetables, small scale farming and market gardening, then please subscribe to my channel because we are just getting started. Let's get into today's video. When we started the farm, we knew that as a part of our farming philosophy, we wanted to have a garden that was no dig, that was chemically free, that was also a really beautiful place to be and to work, and part of that includes having no weeds. So the no dig and the no weeds ties in perfectly together, and we're going to talk about how we've tried to achieve that so far. When we first began making the gardens, we started off with a weedy lawn. So the very first thing we did was covered the land area with tarps. This is otherwise known as occultation, which is blocking the plants and the ground from the light. It's going to kill off all the grass and the weeds in there, and we're just going to be left with, well, the dead plant matter on top and the soil. The second thing that we've done is put in the weed mat borders around the edges of the garden. So they go right around the edge of the whole garden, and then also we've got a pathway in between the two gardens here. This is going to stop the lawn and the weeds from creeping into the edge of the garden bed, and it just gives us a nice barrier between our grass and weeds and our weed-free garden space. The third thing that we have done for our garden beds is add a thick layer of organic matter. So we've got compost, which is weed-free, which initially we wanted to put a really thick layer on each of the garden beds. We ended up getting about 15 trailer loads of compost, which was a big investment for the initial startup of our gardens. Here's the last little bit of our compost here, which has been sitting here for about 2 or 3 weeks, and it's just totally weed free. Number 4 is to keep the ground covered. Keeping it covered with a thick layer of compost and covering it with a decent crop, or when you don't have anything to plant, covering it with a tarp, and this will keep the weeds suppressed. A good example is this bed here. Not only have we covered it with a layer of compost, we've also covered it with a crop of lettuce, and we've covered the entire thing with our insect netting, which is also going to help prevent seeds from blowing in. Now, we've only opened this bed once since we actually planted these, and we haven't done any weeding, so let's take a look and see how it's doing. So here's a weed here, which brings us to number 5, which is to remove any weeds that you do find in the garden. We weed the whole area every week just to try and keep on top of it. It's impossible to be completely weed free, but when you pull them out and get rid of it, it sure does help. My dad, who actually does most of the weeding around here, loves to use this tool, which is the Two Bad Cats wire weeder, which is a fantastic tool because unlike a regular hoe which will cut the weed, this will actually pull the whole weed out. Number 6, and the most important for a weed-free garden, is using the no-dig method. Of course, initially starting off with the highly compacted ground, we did fork, but followed up straight away with the tarp and that thick layer of compost. in some areas perhaps we didn't put enough compost and they did turn up a little bit weedier than others, but from this point onwards it's really not digging in that garden area. We want to avoid disturbing that soil and the seed bank in there as much as possible, and those seeds in there will just sit there and they won't come up if we don't disturb them. So just adding organic matter on the top and covering with your plants, and that's really the most important step that we've taken to making this garden weed free. Well, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you can follow my journey. Well, I'm going to go and finish the weeding. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye. You know why this one's here? Because this is where the rabbit decided to dig. He didn't know the no dig rules. He disturbed that seed bank in there, and here they all are. So I think it goes like this. It goes, you don't need to do that right now. Just don't go into it too much. Video. That's about all I have to say about that.